And we welcome you into the season preview looking at Carlow softball for the 2024 season. Sean Meyers joined by the veteran head coach, Glenn Zinsmeister. And I mean that in a complimentary way, of course. Glenn, I always enjoyed talking to you. How's everything going with you?
Everything's going good. Great preseason stuff, getting ready. I think we're 32 days to the plane ride to Florida for spring training, and that's when it all starts, so we're excited.
I'm sure there's a lot of excitement with you and with all of your players as well. But before we look at this season, I want to look back last year. You won 15 games total. How did you evaluate how the season went for the Celtics?
I think we certainly fell below what our goals were from a win-loss perspective. We lost a lot of what I thought were closer games that we probably should have won. We did some good things, we did some bad things, and unfortunately we didn't do enough good when we needed to push us forward. I mean, always we kind of eked into the USCAAs last year, which is the first time really since I've been here that it wasn't basically a lock. Like we were kind of on pins and needles, and we never want to be in that position. So, we working through the off season to try to improve on things that we needed to improve on, and gain some focus, and hopefully we'll come out this year in a better position.
Well, let's narrow in on that a little bit. What were the areas for improvement that you've really focused upon?
Yeah, I really think just talking a lot about defense. I mean, obviously, being in the weather climate that we're in, it's really hard to work things other than indoors where we can. So working on a lot of fundamental defensive stuff, doing a little bit more chalk work so that we have a clear understanding of what we want to do and when we want to do it, and hopefully that is clearly understood by everybody on the field. And then always, I think that our season will go as we perform offensively. We probably hit better last year than I think we ended up at a 289 or a 292 team batting average. Probably one of the higher team batting averages that we've ever had since I've been here as a coach. But at the same time, I think maybe our strikeouts were up a little bit, our walks were down a little bit, and our slugging percentage, we had some people that hit really well, but we also, we left a lot of people out there on the pond that if we could have got them home, we would have probably been in a better situation. So.
Well, from last year's team, you lost some pretty good ones. A significant group has moved on due to graduation. Of course, we think of Morgan Nedley, many other players. When you think of that group, what void was created by them moving on, and then what's their legacy and impact at the program?
Yeah, sure. So Morgan Nedley, Morgan Pierce, who was a fifth year, and Hannah Gallagher, those three main people were who we kind of were the main group that we lost, and they. Significance to me personally, they were my first freshman class as a head coach. And I think significance to the team, a whole lot of leadership, a whole lot of grit, and a whole lot of want to and can do. I mean, they were the type of players that they all led by what they did on the field, and they also led by what they did, off the field, in the room, and with the younger players. So that'll be a void that's missed. I feel like we lose similarly every year when we graduate a senior class. So the hope is that our younger team, our younger players, our juniors especially, and our sophomores, as the juniors become seniors and sophomores become juniors, hopefully they take that next step from a leadership perspective, both on the field and off the field, and that's really what our hope is.
Let's focus on the hitters. Who are the key returners that you're going to lean upon?
Probably, from a senior perspective, we're going to look at Clara Niglio, who plays first base for us and has proven to be a clutch hitter for us. Maddie Bowes, proven to be a clutch hitter for us, has a lot of pop in her bat from a power perspective as well. And then, our other two seniors, Marissa Schuckman and, Jillian Durst is technically a junior academically, but she's a senior for us. Based on her academic program, she won't be able to play for us. They're two people that are, they have a ton of potential to really do a lot for the team this year. On our junior side, we have obviously Megan Pollinger, who led us in hitting last year. Her OPS was close to 1,100. Her on-base percentage was like .630, and I think she batted .399. Across the continuum of the entire year, with the majority of that being NAIA competition in what I consider to be a really tough conference, that's pretty impressive. So we look for her to continue doing that. The other juniors, McKenna Pierce, Fran Bailey, they've both been here and been playing a lot since they were freshmen. McKenna has a lot of pop to her bat. Fran is somebody with a lot of contact. All of those 6 people that I just mentioned, 7 people I just mentioned, carry a certain amount of leadership on the team as well. So
I know a few of those players also will be pitching for you this season.
Sure.
So the group of pitchers that you have coming back, who jumps out amongst that group?
Obviously, Clara Niglio is a senior. She's pitched a lot of innings for us since she came. Megan Pollinger also pitched a lot of innings for us. And then along the way too, Tatum Wiggs is a sophomore this year from California. She got some good experience last year as a freshman. She's looking really good here in the off season. And then from a freshman perspective, we have Justina Giles, who comes to us from Olsh, and had a really successful season there. I think carries herself really well on the mound, and we'll start to bring her on. Hopefully stay healthy and we don't have to bring her on too quickly. I always feel it's better if those pitchers can develop from a slow pace with not a whole lot of pressure on them, and then we move forward from there.
Well, we'll stay on topic with the newcomers. What are your expectations for that group?
Yeah, so this year is kind of, in years past, we were forced probably to play younger players much sooner than we had to based on need and injury. This year, really, our returning core team has all played a lot of innings for me, and I hope that continues to be the case. I hope that young class can learn from them, and then sprinkle in their experience along the way, and when called upon, they're able to contribute in a way that they can, but again, in an environment that doesn't put them under too much pressure.
I'm sure you'd love to be good in all facets, but what do you think in particular will be the strength this year?
I think we have, for comparably speaking to our conference and looking at the AMCC, our new conference, I think we'll have a strong pitching staff. I think we have a considerable amount of skill and we have a considerable amount of experience there. Especially with Niglio and Pollinger kind of being 1-2 or 1A, 1B, however you want to look at that. So I think that'll be a lot of strength, and I also think that from a hitting perspective, I think we've shown, at least in the fall, and we've shown early on in our inter squad stuff, that I think we're ahead of pace from where we've been in years past from a hitting perspective. So.
What goals have been established, and then is it you who sets the goals? Is it the players? Do you kind of all converge on that?
So I think really the players are still in the process of developing what they expect the season to be. Obviously we go into every season and we'd like to win. I just had to fill out my preseason coaches poll for the AMCC, and I slotted this in as the number 4 team out of 10. We've had an opportunity to play some of those teams in the past. Some of them we haven't. I expect us to have a really good opportunity to at least split every doubleheader that we play, and there are some of those doubleheaders that we should sweep, providing we play the game that we can. What I always tell the team is, you have to decide what you define success as yourself as a team, and hopefully that includes obviously winning some games along the way. This year I think the biggest thing is we'd like to be able to lock up the USCAA bid, at least feel like we locked it up much earlier on than waiting for the actual bid selection day, where we're kind of holding our breath. Are we going to come in as the last team selected? We'd like to be in the middle of that pack, or the middle to upper part of that pack. So
it's an exciting time because of the move to a new conference from the NAIA to the NCAA, and to, in particular, the Allegheny Mountain Collegiate Conference, the AMCC. What goes into that transition, and what maybe are the pros of it?
So I think the thing that goes into it, the hardest thing, is really for the folks behind the scenes, for us to really learn the NCAA rules and everything that we have to do from a recruiting perspective, and some of the new specific codes of the sport specific to the AMCC and the NCAA D3 conference. So it's some learning from our administrative athletic director all the way down through me and the coaches, our compliance officer, It's things as far as eligibility and all that type of stuff. For me personally, recruiting has changed a little bit. The way the NAIA and the NCAA looks at recruiting is a little bit different as far as who I can talk to, when I can talk to them, things like that. So that's a little bit different for us. So just navigating through that. I think the biggest pro is going to be travel. The River States Conference, very competitive conference, but we were road warriors. I mean, we get on the bus on a Thursday night, and we'd be out until late Saturday, sometimes Sunday, that we would get back. There's a certain toll that takes on an athlete as an athlete, but obviously here at Carlow, it takes a toll on them from an academic perspective as well. And that additional stress in academics, you could oftentimes see that bleed over into the field as well. So I'm hoping that is lessened along the way. And plus the other pro is we should be able to have somewhat of a better fan following, both from the aspect of folks hopefully here at Carlow that can come out and see more of our games, and then for the athlete themselves, their families. We'll have an opportunity, hopefully, to see them play more. Much easier to travel to the North Hills, to La Roche University, to see somebody play an away game than Owensboro, Kentucky. So it'll be a positive thing for us, I think, that aspect.
I know you said where you thought you might potentially kind of slot into the AMCC, but when you look at the conference as a whole, how do you evaluate the landscape of it?
So I think a very competitive conference, and I think we match up with that maybe a little bit more competitively than we did in the River States Conference. I always felt like we were at the bar in the River States Conference where we had a few teams that were a little bit below us from a talent perspective and from a performance perspective. I think in the AMCC we're a little bit we're probably above that middle of the road a little bit, and I expect us to perform that way.
What are the goals that you have when you set up the non-conference schedule?
Actually, really, this year it's to look for competition that is obviously from a local perspective again, so that we're not affecting the academic study time of the student. And we have a lot of options around here from a D3 perspective. Places like St. Vincent, who we're not playing this year, but we'd like to develop a relationship with them. Waynesburg, we're going to be playing them. Geneva, we're actually going to see Geneva in Florida, and we're going to see them up here. So they're all good, solid programs that play in a good conference, and so we'll get a good test, we'll get a good amount of competition, and hopefully it puts us in a good place that we're ready to go there with our conference schedule. I think the other thing is we'll play most of our conference games in March. Or non-conference, in March. And then our conference games kind of start up in April. So it gives us that opportunity to kind of get our feet underneath us and move forward. So
you get credit for the wins and the losses on your record, but it's kind of a group effort with the coaching staff. When you think of the people you have around you, what qualities come to mind?
They're all so for me. I'm a male coaching in a female softball realm, and I certainly bring a certain amount of organization and a certain amount of tactical expertise to the table. But all three of my coaches that are full-time coaches, and then even my volunteer staff, have all played either here at Carlow or at another collegiate level. So they bring an understanding of what the girls are going through on a daily basis, and from a communication perspective, they bring an extra level of that understanding, being the fact that they've done it themselves. So.
Lastly, fill in the blank. This will be a successful season if
we take advantage of every experience and every opportunity that's afforded to us, thus making it a positive journey. It's really, again, we want to win, and wins and losses are important. But the journey is what's most important. So if we take advantage of those experiences and make it a positive journey, it'll be a great experience for the girls, and that's ultimately what we want it to be.
I think that's good advice in any realm. Glenn, we appreciate it as always. Thanks for doing this, and good luck heading into another season.
Thank you, Sean. Always appreciate the conversation.
That's Glenn Zinsmeister, the head coach of the Celtics, here on the Season Preview. We continue season preview looking ahead at Carlow softball for the 2024 season. Sean Meyers joined by one of the seniors on the team, Clara Niglio, a pitcher and first baseman. Before we start the hard-hitting questions, how's everything going with you, and what are you looking forward to this season?
Good. I'm definitely looking forward to a new season with new opportunity. So.
I know senior season always has to be exciting, but before we look ahead, I kind of want to look back at what you have been doing in preparation. What were your areas of focus throughout this offseason?
The off season, I would definitely say we have been focused on mechanics and really getting the small stuff down, because when it comes to game time, all of that stuff really comes into play, and sometimes I feel like most of us forget about it and are just trying to work so hard to win and be aggressive, but we forget about the little stuff. So definitely the little skills.
Heading into your fourth season now, I'm sure you can think back to how far you've come at Carlow. What are maybe some of your biggest areas of growth throughout your time here as a college softball player?
I would definitely say confidence. Being a pitcher, it can be very difficult, and the center of attention is always on you. So I would definitely say I have become more confident as a pitcher and as a player and even as a person.
Well, let's focus on pitching. What are your best attributes as a pitcher?
I would say that I'm pretty consistent with counts and really just buckling down when it's time to focus and getting out when we need it. So I feel like consistency.
You've really been a marquee pitcher since you joined Carlow, but I think you've kind of emerged as a hitter, especially last year hitting over 300. So with that in mind, what do you expect for your role this season?
This season, I would definitely say that I want to excel because it is my last season. I am a senior. I want to get more outs as a pitcher and as a game, so and have more wins on the mound. And then definitely keep up my hitting and stay in the lineup. So
I know before the season starts, there's obviously a lot of optimism for all the players on a team. When you think of what you have in mind in terms of the team goals this year, what jumps out?
Team goals, I would definitely say, is to win more. The past couple of seasons, we haven't been very successful with wins versus losses, and we haven't made it to our conference tournament to be able to compete. So I really think that we need to buckle down on consistency and winning.
And really, this is an exciting time because you will be joining a new conference, the AMCC, previously in the NAIA, now in Division III of the NCAA. What's your outlook in terms of that change?
An area for growth and new opportunities. It's definitely going to be a change, but I'm hoping it's going to be a successful change and that we are able to show how much we have grown as a team and how we have new members that have come to make us better.
What game or maybe multiple games are you most looking forward to this year?
I don't really have anything specific in that sense, but all of them, honestly.
All of them in Florida especially,
yes,
I would assume.
Florida, yes. Can't wait for that. But everything's new, and we are playing some teams that we have previously played. So maybe looking forward to those games and beating them if we haven't before, or just excelling in those games.
I'm guessing one of the benefits of playing in the AMCC is you might go against some girls that you played against even at the high school level now, a little bit more than when you were traveling to states far away.
Yeah.
Is that something that's exciting?
Yeah, it's fun seeing people that I used to see in travel ball and high school. It's kind of like a little reunion, and everybody knows everybody in the softball community. So,
lastly, you've been here long enough that I think you're probably a good source for this. What's your favorite aspect of being at Carlow?
I would definitely say their academic program, and it's very accommodative with athletes and sports. So, definitely good academics.
Well, Clara, I've always enjoyed watching you pitch and hit, and certainly we're looking forward to another season, hopefully a great senior season for you.
Thank you.
That is Clara Niglio, a senior for the Celtics here on the season preview. We continue here with the season preview, looking ahead for Carlow softball in the 2024 season. I'm now joined by another senior, Marissa Schuckman, a shortstop for the Celtics. First off, thanks for doing this. I see the trademark Mountain Dew, of course, with you
got it with me.
as well. I know a little while before the season, but there's got to be some excitement with you, right?
Yes, I'm very excited for this season. I feel as if it is going to be a big transitional period, but I feel as if it's going to be a good one for us as a whole.
Let's look back at last season. How did you evaluate your performance and collectively the team's performance last year?
Collectively as a team, I thought we did very well. I think that there was obviously some needs of improvement that we need, and I think that is overall just being consistent with everything we do in positive ways instead of negative ways. And for myself, it took me a lot by surprise to see that he had moved me into the infield because I have not played infield since my freshman year of high school. So it was interesting to see how I improved and grasped each position.
I'm guessing that maybe that was an area of focus now your second year in the infield. What else did you work on throughout the offseason to get prepared for 2024?
I would say strengthening my mental capacity over the off season. I knew that it was going to be a transitional period, so I knew that I had to be mentally prepared to be a leader for my team and show the other girls that it's all going to be good. We're going to have a great time. So, yeah.
Well, I know you are an upperclassman. You're one of the leaders now as a senior. When you think of the new group, the freshmen or the newcomers to the program, anyone who's jumped out to you?
I think they're all good ball players, but the two that I would specifically say struck me was Justina Giles and Rosa DePrater. They show on and off the field that they're very dedicated to the sport.
I know when I talk to all the players, they look forward to the trip to Florida. It's always an exciting time for, I'm sure, multiple reasons. When you think of that, what are maybe some of the best aspects?
I feel like Florida is a time where we not only get to be on dirt for the first time, so that is an experience in itself, but we also get to do many activities outside of playing. We get to see each other grow more from that time period versus the end of the season. There's just a lot of learning during that area.
Are you and the other upperclassmen maybe charged with coming up with some of the activities throughout that?
So Maddie Bowes, who is another senior, she's actually she organizes all the activities for team bonding. So she's going to take that. We have no idea what it's going to be this year.
It'll be a
It's
surprise.
always a surprise, but it's always fun.
Let's talk about goals. What do you have in mind for the team and for yourself this year?
For the team, I just want to win. I want to take it as far as we could possibly take it and just say that we overall did the best that we could. I feel like being consistent will help that. And for my own goals, I feel as if I need to show up as a leader for my team. That is my goal. And my ultimate goal at the very end of the season would be for me to go out knowing that I performed and played to the best of my abilities, and hopefully the underclassmen looked up to me in a way.
Maybe you just answer this on an individual basis, but collectively, fill in the blank. This will be a successful season for the Celtics if...
Consistency. If we are consistent throughout everything, fielding, hitting, all of the above. Because hits breed hits, and I feel as if last year we had trouble stringing that along, and that's kind of where we fell short. So I feel as if this year, if we go about it consistently, we should be able to accomplish it.
Well, we look forward to another exciting season. Thanks for doing this, and we'll look forward to seeing you out there on the field.
Thank you so much.
That's Marissa Schuckman, a senior for the Celtics here on the season preview. Sean Meyers joined by another senior here on the season preview. It's Maddie Bowes, who is a designated hitter, an outfielder, second base. You cover a lot of bases, pun intended. First off, thanks for doing this. How's everything going with you?
Good so far. How about you?
I'm doing well. I want to talk about the upcoming season for the Celtics, but first I want to kind of circle back to last year. How did you evaluate how you performed?
I think I started out strong, coming in my junior season. Was doing really well at the plate and the field. I did hit a bit of a slump, but even through that, I was still able to, help out the team, provide for them, sack hits, sack bunts here and there. And, if that led to team success, that's really all that matters to me. So hopefully, get back on track this season.
I know as a senior, there's probably some leadership that comes with that responsibility. When you think back to your time throughout Carlow, how has your leadership kind of evolved?
I think my leadership really evolved over my whole course of my 4 years. Started out here mostly kind of like a role player. My freshman year, it was a weird time with COVID and everything, but I didn't play much my freshman year, but I didn't let that get me down. I kind of was a big cheerleader for the team, and then my sophomore year, I took on a role as team bonding, being in charge of team bonding. So then, doing that the past 2 years and then coming into senior year and being a captain, I feel like my role has progressed. And I am really glad that I get to, set a good example for our team, for the younger players, for everybody who, it's their first time here at Carlow playing, give them a good role model to follow.
Now, I was told that you kind of plan all the activities in Florida, but no one knows it except for you, or do you share that with somebody?
So just recently I did pass down the team bonding role. It was passed from a senior to me as a sophomore, so
I felt like I should keep that tradition going because you kind of get to do it for 2 years. So I did just pass it down to one of our sophomores, Tatum Wiggs. So she will be taking it over after I graduate, but she'll be helping me out plan the activities and stuff for this year too.
To this point of your Carlow career, what's your favorite moment?
I think just the team chemistry, really, honestly, throughout softball. It's not even just a push for the games and, how much time we spend together, but also it's a push for, you to stay on track with your softball. It gives you really great friendships. Just the chemistry that we have on and off the field even. Just the cheering that we do, really supporting each other. There's nothing like it. That's why sports are so great.
I'm sure you're confident in yourself, but other than you, who do you think might have a breakout season?
To be honest, the past year we saw the seniors be strong, the juniors be strong, the rising juniors, rising seniors. I really think that this is the year for the sophomores to, have their breakout year, which traditionally it usually is like that. Freshman year, you're kind of a little scared. Sophomore year, you kind of have your breakout. But I think there's a lot of potential with our sophomores coming up this year. And I really think it'll be, their big year. So
Let's talk about the objectives. What do you have in mind for the team and for yourself?
Yeah, so again, kind of going off where I left off last season, just, working hard, especially both myself and the team. Nothing really tops work ethic, at least for me. That's what I like to instill as a captain. So work ethic, obviously sports, you'd like to succeed and do well individually. But again, anything to help out the team. So I hope to be successful at the plate, in the field, dependable at the plate and in the field. And I would expect that out of the team as well. Obviously, we're all pushing towards that same goal. And I think we're all very excited to be in this new conference. We played some teams against in this conference last season, and I think it was a good look for us heading into this season. I think if the team keeps trucking the way we have been at practice, we'll be pretty successful this year.
The only coach that you've known at Carlow is Glenn Zinsmeister. He's still obviously the head coach. When you think of him, what qualities come to mind?
So for him, I've came to love Glenn, as a person, as a coach. These past 4 years, he really welcomed me in. I was from a little small town, didn't really know much about Carlow, and he really does welcome you in. A lot of people call him Dad, or sometimes to jab at him, Grandpa. But he really is a great guy, and I think my favorite part about him is the fact that he really does put student athlete first. Your student first, which is exactly how it should be. So if we have big exams or practices, he will either let us do practice here or do studying here, or tell us to sit out of practice for the night. We really do prioritize the school over the softball, but it's expected that you'll still come in and put your work in as well. So I think just with him being pretty lenient when it comes to the school side of things, because he understands we are people. A lot of us are nursing majors, and he is a nurse himself, so that's also very beneficial for us.
Well, Maddie, thank you for doing this. We appreciate you taking the time, and good luck into your senior season.
Thank you.
That is Maddie Bowes, a senior for the Celtics, here on the season preview.